everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Katie, and today I am doing a Bible book review for you because I've been so busy the past 2 weeks. I recently got back from a reader book event that was so much fun. It was a Christian book event, and I just had a fantastic time. So I got this in the mail, I think when I got back, or it was like right before I left. And I just really wanted to share it with you. So thank you to Crossway for sending me a copy of this wonderful Bible to talk about with you all. And this is the Spiral Bound Journaling Bible, the New Testament. You can get the entire set in one order, or you can go and just get one edition at a time, which is great. I really love that because that way you can save and, every few months or once a year for Christmas or your birthday, you can splurge and get one of these. So I requested for the review to get the New Testament edition. And if you like this one, please leave a comment. That way I can request more in this series if you want to see more. But this is the New Testament one, which I think is probably one of the bigger editions that they have. But I do have the illustrating Bible, which is also amazing. But I love that these are kind of like, I would say like a rule book spiral bound size, like you would have like in school, like not planner size, binder size or notebook size. And I really love this bigger size. And I love as well that it comes in different volumes. That way you can carry one with you to church if you know you're going to be studying like the Psalms and the Proverbs or in the New Testament. So I really love that they created these so you could bring them with you in a different volumes rather than one giant one. I really love this. So this beautiful one is in like a slate gray blue color. These are all ESV version. That's the only version of the Bible that Crossway sells. This is the back. It's just plain, but you could honestly put stickers on here. You could paint it. I might do that actually. I might paint the back and the front of this book because, okay, it's not embossed, which is actually really good. So if you do want to paint or use paper or add pictures on the front, you can go ahead and do that because it is not embossed. So you should be able to go ahead and cover this if you want to decorate your cover, which I love that as well, that it's not embossed or anything. There's no like bad texture, so like I feel like this can handle paint really well as well. So here is what it looks like. It's quite large. Hopefully we'll get it on camera here, but love the spiral bound. It's like a copper color, I would say, which I really love that color that goes with the slate blue. So this is what it looks like. It's the New Testament from Crossway. And these are pretty new. I think they just came out with these last year. Well, this is 2001. I thought for some reason that these didn't come out until like maybe 2 years ago. Maybe I'm wrong. But there's the information for the publishing information. We have Matthew all the way through Revelation plus table of weights and measures, which is pretty cool. So this one has, let me see here. Okay, so the preface, I was wondering if it was like there was no lines. I'm like, why is there no lines? It's just the preface has no lines here. So if you want to take extra notes or whatever, you can. So there's no lines on here. But I do know that once you start in the Gospel of Matthew, all of the pages have lines, and they're very light lines, honestly. They're not super bright, super dark. So if you want to do art and creative journaling in here, you can, because as I said, the lines are pretty light. I would say they're about the same as the ones you would get in the journaling Bibles. So I really like that. And I will grab a measuring tool to see what the margin is, but it's definitely bigger than 2 inches. I think it's more closer to 3 or 4. And the paper, I would say it's a little bit thicker than your regular Bibles. Not as thick as the illustrating Bibles, but definitely not as thin as Bible paper. It's like kind of a nice in between. So I'm going to grab some writing tools, highlighters and stuff, just to kind of test out the thickness of the paper. So what I like to do for any Bible, if you want to test out any mediums that you have no idea if they bleed through or anything, including paint, watercolors, whatever, I always use the preface plus the back with like the measurements and stuff as kind of testing tools. So I don't know if they have a blank page in the back or not. Let's see. No, it's just the weights and measures. So I'm going to use the preface in the front as my tool here. So I have a bunch of different tools that I'm going to share with you, say what bleeds through and stuff. And I'll also kind of write down on the side here what the tools were. That way you know what each item is. So I have highlighters, I have markers, pens. We're going to test it all out on here. So these are all the tools that I had handy that I used. I used Mr. Pen highlighters. I could not find my gel highlighters for some reason, but you can use those in almost any Bible. The Paper Mate Flare pens, Micron pen, which I did end up using it for the writing as well. I used a plain like gel pen for the other lettering as well. Then I used Tombow brush pens, just the lighter colors. I do have darker colors. Let me check that as well, because as I've said in past videos, I only use the darker color or the lighter colors of Micron pens, but let's check the darker colors to see how well they do on this paper, because I want to know. I want to know if they can handle the darker colors as well. So I am going to go ahead and put just another line over here. This green honestly isn't that dark. It's kind of like a middle green. I don't have super dark colors with me, but we have a little bit of a darker color. It's like the blue and the green a little bit darker. Then I used Zebra mild liners, which as of right now, this is the best paper I've ever used Zebra mild liners on, because I tend to struggle with those because they will usually leave a dot of ink either at the bottom, the front, or the back of the line. And this time it didn't, or very little, which is actually really good for a Zebra mild liner. So I would suggest those if they don't bleed through. Then I did Zig Clean color dots, which they're actually made for dot, like to-do list or bullet points, but you can also highlight with them. They're very, very light though, at least the set that I have. This is, I forgot which set this is, but they have other ones too. I think I just grabbed one of the ones that was like the more muted tone, so they're a lot lighter color. And then I have a Posca paint pen, which I wasn't going to use, but I was like, well, it was in my bag, so why not see if that's easily doable, which I'm sure it is because it's acrylic paint. It doesn't normally bleed through anything. So let's go ahead and see if anything bled through the back. I will zoom in a little bit. So nothing bled to this side, just so you know. Like there is nothing on here. I see a little bit from the dot pen, but that's because I pressed it pretty hard, but very unnoticeable. So let's go ahead and zoom in to this side. So on this side, in the pen, there is some shadowing. I don't really see any bleed through. There might be like one if I pressed really hard, but it's more of a shadowing versus anything, which will go for honestly any Bible page. So it's mostly shadowing, including the Tombow Fudonusuki brush pen, which is what I used for my hand lettering. That was the lettering up on the top there. I forgot to mention it, but I tested that out too. No bleed through for that, just shadowing. Pencils would probably work, honestly, if you want to know the best, is probably pencils, because you won't see any bleed through. And honestly, from what I'm seeing, actually, I think this is the Micron pen. Yes, so the Micron pen is kind of in between the regular gel pen. A Micron pen actually shadows less than a regular gel pen. So Micron pen, I would suggest for these. And then as far as highlighting goes, the only thing that really bled was, as I said, the dots. And that's because I really pressed hard to get a dot. You can press once, you probably won't get that bleed through at all. There was a very tiny little bit of bleed through from the Zebra fine liners, or mild liners. Very, very little though, which is very impressive actually for Zebra mild liners, because I haven't had the best with that. But so that is it. And as I said, there is very little shadowing to not much anything. So most of these items did really well in this, including, which I did forget to share, the darker color of Tombow brush pens. I see no bleed through and very, very, very little shadowing. So I would say these darker shades, like the middle shades, not super dark, but these would definitely work for this Bible. So that's pretty awesome. And as I said, which I forgot to share with you, what size these are for a width. Let's see. So it looks like the width, forgive the paint splatter, looks like it's 3.5 for the margin. So you're getting a pretty big margin. I don't know exactly how big the Bible is because, as I said, this is like not the greatest measuring tool out there. So it looks like 8 and 3/3. So 11 thirds inches is how big it is. It is that way. And then this way, it's about 8 1/3. So 11 1/3 by 8 1/3. So just say 8 by 11 roughly. And a 3.5 inch margin almost. So really good size for margins. I'm not exactly sure what I want to use this for. If I want to take it more of a note, I think I'm going to do it more of a note Bible because I really don't have a note-taking Bible. And I think that's going to actually be a good tool for me to use this for. Because as I said, most of mine are creative art journals. I could use one that's actually just for writing. All right, so I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed day. I will link this below where you can purchase a copy if you would like to. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video.